meeting of the Ascc to order, February 24th, 2025. So we call the roll.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Chair War,
Here.
Commissioner Breen,
Here.
Commissioner Dixon,
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn,
Here.
and there's one vacant commissioner. You have a quorum.
Thank you. First item on tonight's agenda is oral communications. This is where members of the public, that who would like to address the ASCC for items not on tonight's agenda can do so. Marianne?
Miriam Thunder Conservation Committee. I just have a quick observation. We noticed that the interpretation of what is allowed on 0 to 5 is not is different between the ASCC and the fire department. So what I understood that the ASCC says on 0 to 5, no plants are allowed. And the fire department says certain ground covers, as long there are no dry sticks and what have you, are allowed. And I just wanted to bring this up because for us, it would be helpful if the town has one single interpretation so that we then know what we should recommend.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the commission on tonight's agenda? I'd like to recognize for tonight's agenda, our interim, town planner, Mark Linder. Thank you for coming. Mark, do you have anything you'd like to say? Okay, thanks.
We do have one commenter online. Craig Taylor, you're allowed to speak.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm here on Zoom if you need me.
Okay, thanks much, Craig. No other members of the public?
That is correct. No other members.
Okay. Next on the agenda is 3A, architectural review for exterior remodel and a bunch of other stuff at 10 Redberry Ridge. Jamie, would you start with the staff report, please? I will. One moment. Okay. Okay, I'm not usually in person, so can I be heard? Everything's okay on mute here on the computer? Thank you. Okay, good evening, ASCC. Yes. Can you hear me now? Yeah. The first item before you tonight is an architectural review for 10 Redberry Ridge. The applicant proposes an interior remodel, exterior remodel, new hardscape, new landscaping, and one significant tree removal. Soil movement associated with the site development permitting is less than 100 cubic yards, which is performed at as a staff level review. So that will not be under the ASCC's purview this evening. 10 Redberry Ridge is located on a cul-de-sac access from Los Trancos Road and Buck Meadow Drive. The parcel is located within the Blue Oaks PUD zoning district residential estate 3.5 SD-2-D-R. The parcel is located in geologic soils types SBR and TB. The TB is located at the bottom of the parcel, and the parcel is surrounded by single family residential and open space. This is an existing site plan. Sorry about all the red. It's also a demolition and plan. This is the best that I could find for this, the most appropriate for the existing site plan here. So the whole site. The parcel contains a 15-foot pathway and slope easement along the front property perimeter and a private open space easement along the westerly portion of the parcel along the entire side yard. The Blue Oaks PUD contains established building envelopes for each site. The site currently includes a one-story residence with attached garage and a basement. The site is accessed via a driveway that, entry drive that leads downhill to an auto car area. There is an existing patio area along the westerly portion of the residence and patio area at the rear with pathways that surround the residence. This is the proposed site plan. The applicant proposes to expand the patio area along the northerly side yard to include an outdoor fireplace and water feature. New pathways that lead to viewpoints are proposed in the front and rear of the parcel. To note the original, which you at the site visit today, you probably noted this already. The original proposal indicated an outdoor kitchen area and trellis, which have been removed from the proposed scope of work. And there is, as you saw, an existing kitchen area that is proposed to be removed, outdoor kitchen area. Parking for guests and to accommodate a fire truck turnaround better are also proposed surrounding the existing auto court area. A decorative paver area is proposed near the entry along the driveway, and landscaping improvements are also proposed. The home's exterior is proposed to be upgraded by replacing windows, new exterior paint, removal of an existing brow roof over the front door, a new entry door, and a new gated trash enclosure behind the existing garage. Slide 5 here shows you the existing and proposed elevations for the right side of the residence located along the side yard, the right side yard. The red highlighting on the existing elevation view demonstrates where window removals are proposed. One existing chimney is proposed to be removed and a new fireplace is proposed at a different location, resulting in chimney in a different location that is overall slightly less visible for the new chimney. Visibility would be slightly less visible. The height of the residence remains the same. Very quickly, this is slide 6, which shows the existing and proposed front of the residence and rear of the residence. Slide 7 shows the existing and proposed elevations along the easterly side yard of the parcel. Overall, there is a reduction of window sizing along this portion of the structure. This here is the proposed floor plan. The applicant is proposing to remodel the interior of the residence by removing 2 bathrooms and two bedrooms, and 1 bathroom, and replacing them with 2 closets. The primary bathroom and kitchen are also proposed to be remodeled. Slide 9 here includes the proposed materials, colors and materials, which include a cobblestone driveway accent. Right here. Decomposed granite pathways and limestone paving. The remodel to the exterior of the residence include windows and doors finished in a black matte paint, a steel plate entry door, and exterior paint in graphite by Benjamin Moore. The mock-up depiction here in the slide shows a brown color. However, the color is more of a dark gray tone as shown in the graphite mock-up. Impervious surfaces, here on slide 10, existing impervious surface area is 4,847 square feet. The maximum allowable impervious surface area for the site as stated in the PB is 10,000 square feet. The project proposes a total of 7,184 square feet of impervious area, which complies with the maximum allowed by PBMC. Oops, sorry, stop that. And perfect. Landscaping, here on slide 11, this is the proposed landscape plan, which includes 11,695 square feet of new landscaping. The proposed vegetation plan is predominantly native shrubs and plants which surround the front of the parcel, driveway, proposed pathway, and seating areas, and the residents. Special attention was given to the plantings that would further assist with screening to neighboring parcels. Plantings are not located within 5 feet to the residents. The applicant incorporated the recommendation of the Conservation Committee related to the removal of invasive weeds, which may be added. There is a standard condition of approval that is included already. There's a more specific one that needs to be included, please let me know. The proposal complies with the town's water efficient landscape ordinance. The arborist report identified 157 trees, of which 15 are not protected. One significant tree is proposed for removal and 2 non-significant trees. The significant tree proposed for removal is a 9-inch diameter blue oak, number 66. The significant tree proposed for one non-significant Japanese maple, labeled 156, is located near the entry of the residence, and one valley oak, number 157, is located approximately 7 feet from the existing outdoor kitchen area. Exterior lighting, the proposal includes 25 path lights, 11 step lights, and 29 eve lights. Existing light fixtures are included within the exterior lighting plan and are proposed to be replaced with bulbs that comply with the town's maximum lumen output and dark sky compliance requirements. In response to staff's recommendations for reduced lighting, the applicant did reduce lighting around the site, some lighting, and along the driveway area to better comply with the town's design guidelines for exterior lighting. Public notice was mailed. Public noticing was mailed to all property owners within a 300-foot radius on the site on February 14th, 2024. The applicant also conducted their own public outreach to adjacent neighbors in August of 24. No comments were received from adjacent neighbors or as a result of public noticing. The proposal, which I don't know if I mentioned, also went through the Blue Oaks HOA and received a conditional approval in July of 2024. Staff recommends that the Ascc review and approve the requested architectural review for an exterior remodel, hardscape, and landscaping improvements subject to the conditions of approval. The applicant, the project architect, microphone is available for questions, and staff available as well. Thank you.
You can bring your landscape architects with you. Pull a chair up if you can. Okay. We had a great site visit this afternoon. Is there anything else, that you'd like to, say at the event, tonight in preparation for our review?
We had a very good walk with the conservation team. The ASCC group had left. We did a pretty thorough review of all the lead conditions that they had mentioned. So we have a very good feel for the timeline, and that's the only thing that I'm following up with.
Great. Thank you. Is there any commission questions of, either staff or the applicant?
We talked a little bit about using live oaks, and now I see that there are 3 on the north side. And geez, I just think it's so powerful to be up there in the deciduous forest and to put the to put the live oaks in. I just don't understand that. So those are planned though. There are 3 to the north. Well, you said that to the ones in the south. So the people to the north also want protection? Okay.
Excuse me, speak into the microphone, please.
Most of the shrub screening is proposed along the ridge that we saw today, as well as those live oaks, the evergreen oaks, were a direct request of the neighbor who was there today during the walkthrough, but
But you know that they have 100-foot spread. I mean, do you need to have 3 there in the blue oak forest? I mean, I'm sorry to be a purist about it, but it's so gorgeous up there. I hate to see it get mixed up.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of timing to bring any large trees into that area is very difficult. So
Okay.
smaller trees in a grouping would give us a more effective screening than one large tree, which is what we would need right now to provide adequate screening.
And there are 4 olives at the entrance to the house, and they're Swan Hills. So they're not, yeah, they're not going to recreate.
Non-native, non-fruiting olives, yeah.
Okay, and then architect, when I was up there, I did ask about window treatment. And apparently there's going to be window treatment on that whole wall. At night, so that will all be closed up at night. Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Any other answers to the questions? Legal staff or everyone?
I do not.
The eve lights, is that new eve lights or just what was pre-existing? All right. Okay. Okay. And my other questions have been already addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'd open this up to public comment. Is there any public comment in the room or online?
There's no hands up online.
Nobody in here? Okay. I'll bring it back to the commission. So we can start our deliberation and discussion. Janet, would you start, please?
Yes, I have, my only real question really for us to discuss is probably around the EV lights and sort of what is the general feeling, or not even feeling, but rule or with EV lights versus a sconce, for instance, that there's only one per door. And this obviously, there's a lot more than that on the house. And they're existing.
We
but
haven't seen it.
Is it out of conformance? I don't really know.
As long as it doesn't light the walls. Bathe the walls.
It's the fixture. Maybe it's kind of- Is it just like a recessed ceiling? Yeah.
But please speak in the
You
microphone.
just have to go into the mic.
Thanks. It also has an aperture on it so that it reduces the beam of the light. And today, if you go out there and look at those lights, they don't wash the wall mount and they have a higher output.
Lance?
No, my list of items have all been already addressed by other people with the exception of the EVID lights. And since there is an aperture on that, I could see that being controlled light. I did note that they were on the current recess scans.
Thanks. Anna?
I like the project. I like the materials. The only thing I really have an issue with are the live oaks. It looks like there's a lot of landscaping going down the driveway. The driveway felt good to me, with the manzanitas in bloom. So, but I looked at your list and it all looks okay. And lighting was my other question, just that we can't see it. We don't understand it. I think you ladies mentioned that the fountain would have a light. And okay, good. All right. So yeah, we would discourage that. Anyway, yeah, I support the project. Thank you.
I like the project too. I think it's a handsome, adaptive reuse of the house. I think the fenestration is going to look beautiful. I worry about, your clients cooking, in the house with all that, western and northwestern light. And I'm pleased about, the fenestration. the issues that I had are rather odd for me. You know, it really is about, you know, a couple of evergreen oaks, you know, on the north west corner, you know. I think one oak, well selected and well nurtured, would do as much or more, you know, than the, 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 the two oaks. I'm really disturbed by the one that is kind of nestled into the existing, deciduous oaks. So I would, at this point, want a condition that eliminates two of those oaks, you know, and establishes what, you know, you want to accomplish with one really well placed and well selected one. Other than that, I really appreciate, you know, your willingness and opportunity, you know, to meet with the, you know, Conservation Committee, you know, to deal with invasives. And I have great confidence in this project's ability, you know, to do that in a way that is, you know, probably as good or better, you know, and probably an example to follow, you know, moving forward. Because I believe that there's going to be quite a lot invested, you know, in the landscape construction, and you know, look forward to you know, motion to approve.
Yeah, I would definitely support that.
Okay.
I didn't really give any compliments in my one question, but it is a really nice project. And, you know, the breaking down of the big expanses of hardscape, especially on that, on the north or west side, it's going to be really nice. So, I agree with
I
your
like that
comments.
it's a lot less architectural. Sorry. Okay, is there a motion to approve with the condition, you know, those two oaks not being in the project?
One clarification question, sorry,
Sure.
about the oak. Would it be, I think we could achieve the neighbor's desire for screening with one tree balanced by potentially some shrubs. So
Yes.
if we have the ability to make modifications, potentially we could look into one oak and some understory shrubs to give that kind of screening that the neighbor desires without the competition of additional
Sure.
mature canopy.
Well, I think we could look to that, you know, motion, you know, being conditioned, you know, that a designated member of the Ascc, you know, review of that, you know, substituted plan. Sure.
Mhm.
Yes, so I move that we approve with the removal of the two oaks on the northwest corner. Is that it? Yes.
Yeah, and with the condition that yeah, the northeast
yeah.
corner. You know, that a designated member of the ACC review the revised plan.
And a designated member review the plan.
Is there a second?
Second. That's fine.
Since there's no one online, we can have a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Motion passes.
Thank you all.
Jamie will provide the staff report with all that whole bunch of stuff read out.
Yes, I will. Very quickly in just a moment. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Carter. The second item before you this evening is an architectural review for a new residence with a detached garage, hardscape, landscaping, significant tree removal, and a site development permit at 175 Los Trancos Road. A 744 square foot state exemption ADU is also proposed that is not under the purview of the ASCC and is included for information purposes only. 175 Los Trincos is access from Alpine Road. The site is located on a moderately sloping hillside, has an average slope of 8.6%, and Los Trincos Creek is located along the rear yard of the parcel. The 1.025 acre lot is located in zoning district residential estate 1A SD-1A and geologic zone SUN. The site contains a public trail easement along the front of the parcel and a PG&E and PPT easement that spans the front of the parcel approximately 30 to 40 feet from the front parcel line. The site previously contained a one-story residence with an attached garage, a non-conforming shed in the rear yard, 4-foot fencing and landscaping. The applicant received a demolition permit in 2024 and demolished the existing residence shed and several site features, with the exception of significant trees and fencing elements that are being reviewed as part of the ASCC. The fencing elements actually that still remain are proposed to remain. The applicant proposes to construct a new one-story, 4,421 square foot residence, 694 square foot three-car detached garage, and a 744 square foot detached state exemption ADU. The site will be accessed from the same location via a driveway that's going to be expanded upon a bit near the left side of the parcel. The garage will be situated to the left of the driveway at approximately 21 feet from the front parcel line and 20 feet from to the northerly side parcel line. Walkways lead from the proposed garage and ADU to the main residence. And planters are also proposed to be located along the front of the residence. The town's 5% bonus allows for maximum allowable floor area of 5,221 square feet. The combined square footage for the main residence and the detached garage is 5,115 square feet and complies with the town's maximum allowable floor area. With the proposed 744 square foot ADU, the combined square footages are 5,859, which results in a negative 638 square feet for the site and leaves, ultimately what it does is leaves no additional square footage for structures within the town's allowed maximum floor area. Sorry, I think I didn't. This slide 5 is the proposed floor plan for the main residence and also shows the detached garage floor plan. The proposed floor plan for the residence includes 5 bedrooms, a bathroom, office, mudroom, family room, open living area and kitchen area with a butler's pantry and 4 bathrooms. Covered porches are located at the rear of the main room. Slide 6 shows the proposed detached garage elevations that include the 694 square foot 3-car garage with outdoor attached trash enclosure area, which is located near the front left side of the proposed garage. The height of the proposed garage is approximately 16 feet. The maximum vertical height allowed utilize the 5% bonus is 18 feet vertical and 24-foot maximum. So this is well within the allowed height requirement. Slide 7 shows the proposed front and rear of the main residence. The proposed maximum height including the chimney cap, is approximately 23 feet 11 inches, which complies with the maximum height of 24 feet in order to utilize the town's 5% AMF waiver. Slide 8 shows the proposed colors and material board for the project. The roofs are pitched and the material for the roofs is metal and a medium bronze. Board and batten siding is proposed in a natural wood tone and horizontal siding, window casings, fascia Soffits and trim are proposed to be painted Benjamin Moore raccoon fur with an LRB value of 8.5%. Gray and limestone stackstone, I didn't know accents, are proposed in several locations, on the main residence and for the plant areas. Pavers are proposed for the driveway, walkway, and the walkway in a medium gray blue. A mailbox is proposed inside of the parcel boundary that is 4 feet tall, by approximately 2 feet wide. The mailbox, is proposed to be surrounded in the limestone, that matches the front stone accent for the main yard. The project proposes 700 square feet of soil movement, subject to site development permitting review by the ASCC. 250 cubic yards of cut are proposed to primarily facilitate the main residence, detached garage, and ADU. 410 cubic yards of additional cut are associated with the expanded driveway, landscaping, hardscape, and a bioswale. 50 cubic yards of fill are associated with the proposed building pad, and 360 cubic yards are associated with landscaping, hardscape, and the biosphere. Proposed impervious surface area is 3,986 square feet and includes driveway area, hardscape, walkways, several covered porches, and a rear patio area. The maximum allowable impervious surface area for the site is 7,229 square feet, and the proposal complies with the maximum requirement for the site. 3,244 square feet of impervious surface remains. To note, the town's trail committee performed a site visit associated with the trail located along the front of the parcel and made a recommendation to have the applicant install scoring on the paved driveway to prevent slippage for pedestrian use. As noted on the updated plans, the applicant shall incorporate the recommendations of the committee during the building permit. Here's the proposed landscaping plan, which consists of 5,780 square feet of new landscaping. Plantings are largely proposed along the driveway, surrounding the garage, the ADU on the left side. Although there's been discussion about that. And in the rear patio area and in the front yard area. Recommendations made by the town's conservation committee at a September 18, 2024 site visit were incorporated into the applicant's plans, and the proposal complies with the town's water efficient landscape ordinance. 3 significant trees are proposed, proposed live oaks, and 8 non-significant trees are proposed for removal. The proposal includes the incorporation of the conservation committee comments to include 2 additional non-significant trees previously not included as part of the removal plan. 2 of the significant oak trees are located near the front of the property, and 1 is located on the left side, along the fence line. Exterior lighting, proposal includes 25 path lights, 12 step lights, 22 recessed can lights, and 10 sconces. The proposed sconces and recessed can lights are 800 lumens each. The pathway lights are 150 lumens, and the step lights are 240 lumens each. The ASCC should carefully review the proposed exterior lighting plan and provide input. Public noticing was mailed to all property owners within 300-foot radius on February 14th, 2024. The applicant also conducted their own research outreach to adjacent neighbors and received 1 positive comment letter from 155 Los Trancos. A comment was also received today from 155 Los Trancos with questions that were clarified, and the comment was included to the ASCC. Staff recommends that the ASCC review and approve the requested architectural review for a new residence, hardscape, landscaping, significant tree removal, and site development permitting, subject to the ASCC, subject to the conditions of approval, the draft conditions. The applicant is here to answer questions, and Amy very welcome.
Good. Thanks very much, Jamie. As the applicant, the architect and the owner, and will you identify yourself? Just an associate? He's got better hair. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, so, yeah, if you have any questions for us, we'd be happy to answer.
Is there any questions of the applicant or from staff, from the Ascc?
Yes. I didn't see, there's no fencing, no gate on this project.
Yes, we're,
Okay,
the plan is to keep whatever we have. But
okay, so everything is here.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions of staff or the applicant?
The lighting plan, I noticed there's quite a few of 27 or more of the walkway lighting. And then the eve or the recess lights at, I can't quite read it. I think it's 800 lumens. Are both in the front and the back,
yes, in the porch and the front.
around the doors as well as the back. The back I can see it's pretty well sheltered, I think, by the bulk of the building. But the front is going to look pretty bright. And I'm wondering if that's consistent with the rest of the neighborhood and the overall look around the front of most of our buildings in town. For the path lighting as well as the eve lighting and the door lighting.
We can remove some of the, if it's necessary, but, most of the houses, the design has kind of similar lighting. And we can change the wattage as well.
Okay. I think less than 800 seems probably adequate with the number. Did you see that kind of the reverse letter L coming off the front door towards the driveway is provides a lot of coverage as well as along between the house and the garage.
The pathway, are you talking about the pathway lights or the recessed can?
I'm looking at the pathway lights right now.
The
One-
pathway is only 150 lumens.
Okay, right, but there's quite a few even at 150.
We can remove some of them.
I think that's probably,
Proposal by the landscape,
okay,
but, we can trim it down.
all right.
I mean, if it's up to the owner, he doesn't want to put any lights.
Well, I could see between none and some, and that many, there's
There's
some room.
there's a lot of gray area there, John.
The recommendation is, between 4 to 6 feet apart, and what we have like 10 feet apart. Then that's leaving it now. For safety. Okay.
To use as vectors. Walk from light to light.
Okay,
So,
I think we got some more questions.
and I had one other one, on the trees. I know I saw that the trees 14 and 15 were right by the driveway entry. I think
can you
it's
trees?
the old existing trees. I think they're marked for removal.
There's 2 trees that are marked.
Yeah, they're right in there, correct. I think tree 14 is the interior tree, correct? Tree 15 looks to be in good shape. I just wondered if maybe you might want to keep that to try to hide that telephone, that utility pole.
That's what, Carter and I were discussing.
Oh. Well, I wasn't in that because there was a large lot for us to all get lost in, so.
So, yeah, we'll definitely consider,
Okay.
kind of changing the approach of the driveway. We just need to, the fire department is requiring us to have a hammerhead for the turnaround.
Sure.
So we need to find a space for that, or if we can still use what we have there in the plans, or salvage what we have, then we'll move it. But we'll definitely, try to see if we can save some of the trees.
Okay, thank you.
No questions.
Anna? Okay.
I have just one. And it's really a question for Jamie. on page 3, where it has all of the little matrix of heights, there's a proposed height of 29'10". Is that just a typo? Is it, because you said it was 23'11", and maybe, sorry if you mentioned that, I missed it.
Yes, no, I meant to mention that in my presentation that I mismarked that at 29 feet. And so, yes, it is 23 feet and 11 and.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Sorry.
I just wanted to. confirm that.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Hearing no more questions, open this to for public comment. Is there any public comment in the room or online? Seeing none
There
here.
are no hands raised at this time.
We'll close the public comment period and start with you.
No, they're not there. I think I made my comments and I do think it's a nice project. I think it looks fun. Looks like it's gonna be fun to build. So, yeah, the front entrance lighting. I think you're already leaning towards minimizing that. I'd be in support of that. And I like the fact that there was a good, robust, healthy discussion going on with the neighbor about trying to figure out how to mitigate that. Wonderful.
I don't have any additional comments on top of what everyone else has said. I agree. I think it's a nice project. It seems to sit nicely on the site and the scale feels good. Nice, good amount of space between the house and the crate. So the sighting is nice. Yeah, and the one thing I sort of was marking up a little bit was just, to reiterate Lance's comment about the front lighting, that you could maybe even just take off. There's lights on both sides. Maybe you just do them on, illuminate on one side, and it's an easy way to, still have a nice consistent path, but just a little fewer fixtures.
Thank you. I think it's a nice project. I think the overall, site planning works. The two parts that I have difficulty with. We talked about the ADU, on site, and we've already, heard, the discussions, and the results are gonna, be towards a more sympathetic response, which I like. I'd like you to, I think the entrance driveway, is not very well thought. It is right now, the aperture is really, really low. And because of it, they're taking out, some extra trees. And I also think it's gonna feel really claustrophobic, to get in there and try to turn around. So I think if you could, refine the design of that, to preserve at least one of the trees, out front, to screen the power pole. And, pick the better of the trees from an arborist standpoint, in its relationship, to the other trees. I think, the project will be much improved, from a vehicle turning and maneuvering standpoint. I support, the removal of the deodora cedars. They're on the do not plant list. And, this project is large enough, and there's enough existing, plant material, to support, taking those out. Jim, I'm a little concerned about your solar access, to the solar panels on the south side of that. Well, yeah, I mean, because directly outside of those, where you're putting those solar panels, there's redwoods that are about 80 feet tall. And
You can place them above the porch as well as the back porch.
well, I think, you just be realistic about
Yeah,
it.
we'll-
Because,
we'll-
because I just think that location, if you put them up there, they're gonna get, an hour and a half sun a day.
I agree. It was a concern, but that seems like that for me, because I'm an architect and I like aesthetics. That's the place where you don't see it as much. So.
I know what you did, but what I,
Try to-
what I,
Carmen,
what I don't want is, if the architectural decision to put solar panels require those redwood trees to be cut down, that you're protecting so bad.
but I think there's plenty of room to place it at the back. It's the downhill and upslope that if you're at the back,
Yeah.
you won't see it.
Yeah, I think you have great exposure there.
Yeah.
And frankly, they'll be, enormously successful, and you won't end up with any plumbing penetrations, out above that porch.
I agree.
So, I truly support, the project. I'm not exactly sure how to, get to a conditional approval, that where the driveway needs, significant alteration.
I was just looking at the landscape plan. Could you just look at that? Because the driveway and that seems not the same as our site plan, and it looks very nice.
Well, it's better, but it still cuts down 2 trees.
I think one of the trees is saved, except number 14. Number 14 is. Yeah. And that's the number 15 tree.
Yeah.
In this, this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, for me, it'd be another designated member of the Ascc to review.
Yeah, because
that-
this one saves the number 15. You
Uh,
can move it a little bit to the left. I mean,
The other thing, when you come in for, building permit, John, if you're not, applying for the ADU, put a box on the plan, so we know, so where it's gonna be, so all of the other stuff, can go around it. Because I think that from a drainage standpoint, it's gonna be really hard to get some of the drainage, that you've got plan going down through there. You know, being as narrow as, you know, as it's currently being proposed. But other than that, I support a, you know, motion to approve with, you know, a couple conditions related to, the driveway, confirming that there isn't any fencing being approved as part of this, the removal of the deodora cedars, and the, reduction in lighting on the front yard and on the front of the building. And I noticed some old lights still in the trees, you know, back by the creek. Just make sure that those actually get removed and not reconnected. I like to smile. It was a little bit ill.
So you just, I will make the motion that you just said. So we would move to approve with the removal of the deodar cedars, the removal of one of the trees, the oak trees in the front. The lighting, and I think that the ASCC should take a look at that also. We should take a look at that and the new driveway configuration. And anything else? And that we know that there's no fencing and no gate. So that's a given.
I don't care where he puts them, but. Well, the issue,
Well, I think, whoever we hire as a consultant for the solar or the maker of solar, they're probably not, they would probably recommend it somewhere else.
well, the reason I brought it up, you know, was to make it, you know, make it public that we're not gonna approve taking down the redwood trees,
No,
you know,
We're not
to
taking
give you more solar access because you put your solar panels in the wrong place. That and the big oak spec by the creek, it's really awesome. There's a second to Dana's motion or more
I'll second.
discussion?
Mr. Chair, before you take a vote, can I clarify, when you say this comes back to the ASCC, you mean to have a designated member work with staff to assure that the conditions are met?
Yes.
Thank you.
Was that your question? No.
Is it possible they need understand this,
I can't see it, so.
8 and 9? That 8 and 9?
There's two big ones.
Where's the list? Yep, and they're on the list and they're numbered. It should be easy to find. Words.
Number 29 as well.
29 also.
Jimmy, I can address your earlier question. If it's a member of the ACC working with staff, it could be any member, it doesn't have to be designated.
We need to, did we get all the clarity we needed on the motion?
Do you have a second yet?
I'll second. Now that we have the clarity, I'll second.
The voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Motion passes 4-0.
Woo-hoo.
Next item is 4. Yep.
Okay.
Where are we on this thing?
Where are we? This one page. Well, I thought,
Make it bigger so old men can see it.
so I came up with the idea that we discussed last time about the opt-in process that would occur earlier. So I came up with a list of what we would want people to have for the meeting. And then I had some questions that I thought we could just discuss that I just wasn't sure about. So I think we'll probably need some feedback from Terrence, maybe Craig, if he's still on the line, and then we'll just talk through. So I can go through that. And feel free to, if you look at this, if you think, oh, in particular for the requirements checklist, if it feels like it's too much, but I think,
the issue for me is that I'd want to encourage people, to come as early and almost as often as they want to, and so the things that I was seeing in the drawings were, kind of less is more, basic parts. I mean, I guess, we almost really do need all these bits. So let's jump to your question. How to communicate the presence of this process? We pick out full page ads, in the New York, in the Walnut Street Journal, because people read that more than they do the almanac.
and I guess what I was thinking with that question is, does it somehow, because most people are doing an initial meeting with the planner and it's usually a good meeting. And so,
The issue for me is that I don't think they'll get it, because, they're not getting site visits with the owner. And, the issue for me is that, and until you see the site, with some idea, I'd eliminate that step. Because that step doesn't yield very much value, to either the town or the client, or the applicant.
or does it get merged, which was kind of my next question. Like, would it just be something where if, let's say you're doing a new house, it doesn't have to be, but just for example, is it something where there's an ASCC member or two, or I'm not sure what the rule is for a subcommittee right now with 4 of us. I know we talked about that last time too, but does it just become, you do the initial meeting? I think the planner, Jamie, obviously, or as one of the planners, knows a lot about the code, can give feedback on kind of the particularities of that. But does it happen in one meeting? Because like you're saying, it probably would be beneficial really to do both, and then also doing the site visit, which I would say, I guess a question with that is then, is it expected that Jamie would come to that as well?
I think so. I think the planner, should come to the site, before, anything comes before us.
Absolutely. I mean, even citing, that citing a house is
I mean,
the
that-
most important thing.
But there was a couple of appeals, during the last, couple of years, of the Ascc approval, that wouldn't have happened, if one, the planner had actually visited the site, and that the ASCC had visited the site with the applicant before, before they formalized all of their
Right.
documentation, because, there were just some real basic problems with some of the design.
Mhm.
And so what you're suggesting, Dana, is, is not having this be an evening, a public meeting or an evening, but this be a part of the application process. As,
Right.
as a preliminary meeting, so that the ASCC could have some input and influence, at that preliminary stage.
Right. I mean, that's what seems most beneficial. I don't know if it would be something where you could either do.
I think that, that right now, the preliminary, the Zoom meeting with the planner, is as they're getting ready to submit. So I think it's already, that point is almost too late over.
I do mine pretty early.
I don't know.
But I mean, I guess that's the hope, is that somebody's starting to think about their project. I don't know. I think it depends on how people work. Maybe someone still does want to do a quick call to say, hey, can you just make sure I got my setbacks right and I've got this before they go in and are even producing a sketch set for this? Or they could be combined if someone is a little further along. I don't know how you sort of bake in that flexibility or.
I just had a thought. If the ASCC, a subcommittee of the ACC could have an hour and a half office, that could be almost the easiest way. And then, if, and you'd say, well, we have these offices. Tell me, you could make an appointment to meet with a subcommittee. And that ASCC could then, run off to itself.
Right.
And
I think that should happen early.
well, I do, but my idea this time, is kind of a spin-off of what Dina was talking about, making it, part of the preliminary application.
Then we get all caught up in that meeting, how many meetings you can have?
Well, if it's optional,
Yes, if it's optional.
I don't
Yeah,
think
because-
it counts, right?
because meetings have to be public meetings, right?
Correct. And you would definitely want to make it optional. If you did, it would not conflict with the Permit Streamlining Act. If the potential applicant knew that this was something they could avail themselves of, if they wanted to streamline the process, but they were not required to, they could go directly to an application. If that, in that case, it should not interfere with it should not count as one of the meetings, even if it were a public meeting, as long as it was optional, as long as they volunteered to it, it would be fine.
So how does the current pre-application meeting?
The pre-application meeting is a meeting with staff that is really intended to, it's intended to and functionally is sort of a checklist for how you apply. It's a very short meeting. There isn't much design input given, to some extent, but mostly it's make sure you do X, Y, Z, do the surveys. And of course, here's our calculation of what the fee is going to be for the next time we talk.
So that doesn't count as a meeting.
It does not. It's not a meeting.
So
It's meeting with staff.
So we could include almost an additional checklist, kind of like when, oh, you've got to do the green rating thing and you've got to do and here's this optional meeting you can have to do and review for alignment for further on and save some.
I
You could
think
almost have that as a
ASCC should go on
page.
site with the applicant and meet on site. We
As a-
know the land,
as an option.
we understand what needs to happen in
But-
terms of the design.
But how do we inform the applicant at the time, at a point of contact, that this option exists? And what the option
I guess I don't
entails?
think it should be optional. I think it should be,
Well, by making it optional, it can be perceived as having more value. It also, is something that as applications come forward, that are kind of not that. It gives us, the ability to say, hey, you had an option, to to come talk to us earlier. No, Lance didn't.
You don't like that, Lance?
Well-
Didn't like that idea.
No, I like the idea. I hate to have the hammer over the hand kind of thing, over the thumb. So,
Well, and maybe, taking a step back of why we're wanting to do this is basically, let's take the project that we reviewed last time where there was an issue with the height and the grading on site being different. And, the feeling of, oh, if we could have seen that a little bit earlier, it would have been really helpful. And that was, having that example in mind, in addition to others, that was sort of what led to what I put together for the requirements checklist. I would say this is sort of an ideal of what, if someone came to us with this, we would be able to do our best analysis. And anyone can peel back and not provide part of this, and you're gonna get out of it what you put in because it is optional. And so if someone did want to do something that was a little bit sketchier, that's fine, right? So, yeah, I guess one of the thing, going back down to the questions at the bottom is sort of the involvement of a planner in this. If we had office hours or something like that, I'm assuming that would not include a planner, just being cognizant of how much time they have in a given week and, what they can put towards, they have projects that they're assigned to. These are pipeline things, how we format that.
If you don't mind me opining on that. Yes, I don't, given our workload and the budgetary issues that the town has, I don't think a commitment of staff time to this process would be appropriate. I mean, it would certainly require town council direction. However, a consideration by the entire ASCC or a subcommittee that would review a preliminary application and is certainly something that the ASCC could do. Staff could facilitate it, but not to have staff in the meetings providing guidance. That would become really cost prohibitive for staff.
I think it's very poignant to also to meet with your fellow residents, who understand the town and we know how it happens. I think it's a lovely concept.
I like the concept of, a weekly office hour. Or we could rotate, maybe not one person, not two people volunteering all the time. And I think it'll save all kinds of angst. For a lot of projects, going forward.
And we might be able to help the planners, in a good way.
well, clarity always, I shouldn't say that, but clarity tends to help more than hurt. And that could facilitate a lot of decisions perhaps and save financial as well as scheduling project time too.
The financial side is.
Yeah.
I mean, this cuts out landscape, it cuts out civil. I think that in itself is significant to not have to start on that until you feel better. I mean,
Excuse-
again, if someone could.
Community commissioners, just got a comment from the public. Can we make sure we speak into our mics and loud enough?
Sure. I just opining on financial, I think it is too.
Yeah.
To feeling more confident in the proposed, siting of the house, planning of it, et cetera, before, really going in and producing final documents by those consultants. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, so, seems goofy that the last thing we do is the site visit. The site visit should be one of the earliest things, before they start, when I started in Portola Valley in 1988, you know, our ASCC submissions were scribbled in sketches, you know, and the staff report was 3 pages. So, our 439-page staff report wasn't, you know, organized into chapters. It was like,
100 pages of pictures of trees. Unbelievable.
Okay. So,
Commissioner Dixon, if you want, I can, if it helps, I can fire off the answers to those questions that you indicated.
Sure.
The communication of the process, I think it'd be easy enough for a process like that to simply be on our website, right above where we have our preliminary application. In addition, it would make sense to work with the community, with PB Forum, something along those lines, so that people become aware of it. And also, in fact, probably most importantly, to let the architectural community in town become aware of the process. It's going to save them a lot of grief. I think they'll be your biggest fans of the deal, of the idea. And it wouldn't be official, wouldn't require any noticing. It's a totally voluntary process where they're getting the expertise of the ASCC that's not binding at all. You have to make sure you kept wrapping everything with caveats that it was not binding. It was just your advice. And then with 4 members, you can do a subcommittee if that's what you desire to do. You can't do 3, but 2 is not a quorum. So you can't take action with 2, so you can have a 2-person subcommittee. And and again, and as I indicated before, the whole process should be voluntary, and including the neighbors is possible in the site. In the site process that we bring forward, and I'm sorry, in the review, one of the first things we tell applicants in that first meeting is to make sure they talk with their neighbors. It's something it's something we routinely do, and you could encourage that as well. So sorry to take up all that time, but I wanted to address those questions.
Thank you.
No need to apologize. Okay.
the next step would be for us to decide whether to be, you know, one of the, how we want to implement. You want to give Craig a chance to talk?
Craig had his hand.
Does he want to?
He put his hand up.
Oh,
Craig, you're allowed to speak.
Yeah, thanks. So, I mean, this seems like a great direction. I agree with Terrence. I mean, we should really put a pretty hard limit on the amount of staff time that we allocate to this. It also sounded like, listening to you guys talk about it. I mean, if there's some way you can do an early site visit, have an informal conversation, and then maybe it's a subcommittee of ASCC that continues to talk with that applicant until they're ready to bring it forward, so that, you know, there's a place they can go and ask questions without having to, you know, schedule a meeting every time they want to get an answer. Might be something to consider. And then the last one, just as I read this, it seems like letting your neighbors know what you're going to do is great, but if you want to meet with a group and brainstorm, it seems like you probably just want to be able to brainstorm with ASCC and not be sort of, you know, pitching your neighbors at the same time. So anyway, just some ideas for thought.
So Craig, did you have if you were an applicant, you have any preference whether it would be, office hours or a set meeting?
Well, I really liked, I think Carter, you brought it up, but and maybe it's Dana, but really the idea of a site visit seems pretty critical, that you get out there so that you guys can see the place and that you can sort of talk to the applicant as you're sort of looking around and like I said, sort of brainstorming. After that, I mean, office hours could be fine. It's just, you'd have to be careful that it could only be 2 of you. And once, I mean, you'd have to talk with Catherine to get the legal sort of fine details, but I think you'd have to be careful that if you had office hours with 2 commissioners and then you had a different set of office hours with different commissioners, and the same persons kept coming in and saying, oh, well, the last one's told me this or that, you might be in violation of the Brown Act. So I think having the office hours, you'd have to be careful unless you just make it a noticed meeting, which I guess you could do.
I think every applicant should have a ASCC team, that just sort of the two people, and you stick with them, during their process until they come before you.
I mean, it sounds like, I totally get what Craig's saying. If all of a sudden, all of us have weighed in, it is less of subcommittee review as opposed to just all of us having weighed in on it. So yeah, I guess that's the issue with set office hours, but
Stick with this. I think the list is good.
Hey, Carter, I can just barely hear you.
That's because I'm so quiet.
Yeah.
That I think we stick to, kind of this level of list. And then, we'll create a calendar of potential meeting days. Where we could have have, a site meeting, with applicants, with the subcommittee.
Like it.
And, we put that, tops on the design review application, as an opt-in.
you said with set days,
Well,
times.
I think it'd be easier, if, we could say, like Thursdays, at
Mhm.
some time, or every other Thursday at some time. I don't know exactly what that is yet, but, then, and then, I hate our, meeting application process with the town. That thing is, to me, broken, because it's, I don't know how you feel about it, Terrence, but, is there some way to make it more friendly? I mean, because you make your complaint about, the tricula, and the dog noise and the mowers and the blowers and your application for, design review, all on the same platform.
Anything can be made better.
It's cost money and time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What goes through my mind, if you do an early site visit, could conservation be involved? Because what would that all mean for conservation? I'm just thinking for the landscaping. If you go out to the site, and then you might be talking about landscaping, and when would we be talking about landscaping? You understand what I'm thinking in terms of the process?
Yeah, the problem, Marianne, I think is, getting so many people, involved. I mean, what we're trying to do is, is get some influence, on the site planning process, early on. I think, we on the ASCC are not plant experts, and we're not invasive experts, but we are, our charge is about site planning, and so it includes, landscape to a degree, and it includes invasives to a degree, but it also includes, drainage, tree protection, building locations, grading, lighting and its relationship, to neighbors, so.
And I was 13 years on conservation. I feel like I'm your voice on ASCC.
And actually, I am so pleased what I heard today because you are so supportive of. I'm just thinking, particularly saving trees, which becomes a bigger and bigger issue. If you are going out, I'm just thinking if maybe the conservation committee, particularly about trees and wherever the house goes, we would like to be involved in a site visit as early as possible. Because the site visit makes all the difference. The plan, and you will see 5588 Alpine when you go up there, and you'll see what a difference it makes when you see what's happening and what the plan is saying. So, so we would offer, I mean, we could also have, independent of you, an office hour or something. We are happy to work with the town and with you to save whatever we can save.
Is it okay if I provide one comment?
Yes.
I think why Marion came up is
Whole
because
life focus.
when planning gets a project and it has went through the pre-application phase, which I request all of those documents at that phase. And for new residents, I do often go and do a site visit just to see the site overall. I don't look as intently as you may for all of the placement, but just to understand the site. What I do with the formal submittal process is, and what planning does, is we let the conservation committee know that there is a proposal, and they do an initial, up to 2 members or a certain amount of members do an initial site visit, and then they provide comments. So that's, I think, where Marianne was coming from on that. I do not reach out to the Ascc at that point, at the first submittal, to say there's it. If the conservation committee comes and picks up a set of plans and so.
Well, I don't think there's any intention that you'd lose that. What this process is attempting to do is to get ahead of the design. You know, so that trees that should be protected, you know, are protected by, you know, by scribbles that say big circle, nothing there, you know, and where should stuff go? Yeah, because you see designers and, you know, and projects being pursued by people that aren't as sensitive, you know, to, you know, topography or drainage, you know, and our plant materials. So, how do you guys feel about the direction?
Great.
Okay.
I like it.
We've wanted this for years.
I think it's worth a try.
Okay.
The other thing I was gonna say is, you know, to address Marianne, your comment, I mean, I think if we were on site and let's say it's a brainstorming session and it was sort of, oh, if we do this, we're taking out this tree, or if we did this, you know, I don't see why we couldn't call and have a discussion with yourself or someone else in the committee to say, hey, this came up on site. What, do you guys want to just pop over there and take a look and then kind of give your 2 cents? I mean, I think the idea is that it's more informal and it's an opportunity to get, you know, this feedback again, just before things get too finalized. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, just, you only have, except for your council member, representative or liaison, there is only one person else online, but you might want to ask if there's any other public comment, just in case there is.
At the advice, you know, of my compadre and interim planner, is there anyone that has comments, you know, from the public? No one in the room. Is there someone? David Cardinal, how are you? How you live and breathe, man?
I'm good. I just felt as the only member of the public, I should say something. So I love the pre-approval or whatever you want to call it, pre-planning process. If it's if it's of value to the person planning the home, then maybe we can charge them, make a fee for it, help pay for time. If it's of value to the town, then obviously it's a value to the town. But I just want to make sure you know we're out here. Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, I think we have our direction.
Okay. I can clean this up a little bit and
Great.
look at it. Thanks.
And Terrence, did you have anything, you know, that you were looking for, looking to report from a staff standpoint?
Yes, it's not work for the ACC, but I know you're, you're quite concerned about it, as many people in Portola Valley are. We're planning to bring the amendments to the zoning code that will put us in compliance, we hope, with the states and in terms of the housing element. We're planning to bring that to the Planning Commission on March 19th and on April 9th to the town council, and April 23rd to the town council for their second reading, if all goes well. The state, in January, became effective a new rule that requires 20 days notice for any zoning change that affects the uses of property. So that's what stretches this out somewhat, but we are in, that meeting has been noticed or is about to be noticed. It's been noticed, and we'll be bringing the staff report forward to the Planning Commission, but I thought the ACC might be ACC and other parts of the community might want to know that that's happening. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you have about that.
Yeah, could we actually get a report on the pipeline? You know, of projects that, you know, are being discussed or, you know, have made telephone calls?
Not at this point, but yes, that's your next meeting. I'll give you an update on the pipeline.
That'd be great.
That is correct. The Planning Commission will be reviewing it on March 5th. They're going to be reviewing it. It would only come before the ACC if the Planning Commission were to remand it back to you.
Okay.
But it is the decision point for them on March 5th.
Thank you.
Anything else? Meeting's adjourned.